Hey everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. Your old pal Tiberius here. Today we're going to be talking about the Immortal Codex a little bit. So the Immortal Codex currently has 6 different bosses in it. Each boss has 4 stages that you have to clear before you can actually get to the boss and fight them for the first time. After that, you just go back and fight the boss as many times as you want while the event's running. And should when it closes out after like a 2-week period of time, if they come back later, you don't have to do the early stages again, which is a nice thing. It's just if you made it to the boss once, that's it. You just fight the boss all the time from now on. The one I want to talk about first, there's currently 3 going on right now. We've got the Wasteland Titan, Lord of Styx, and the Arbiter of Frost. We're going to start with the Arbiter of Frost, which is the one that I actually am struggling a bit with, as you can see. Only an E grade, still top 73%, but certainly a lower grade than some of these other fights here, and one that is a little bit more challenging and might not be as straightforward in terms of what you have to do. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit here. So if we look at what the challenge says here, first off, when a hero applies a buff by casting skills, they will be frozen permanently. So you don't want your people applying buffs that are going to freeze your own guys. So you don't want to be boosting your own guys like that. If they have it through gear, that should still work from what I hear and understand from other discussions about this topic. The other big thing here is after dealing continuous damage to the Arbiter of Frost or the Cryocore, the hero restores their HP. So you've got 2 ways of going about this fight. We'll talk about first the ideal way to do it, which is how a lot of these people are scoring so high. And then if you're a newer player to the game, what kind of substitutions and things can you make to at least be a little successful, get on the board, even if you just hit that first entry level token here and just survive just long enough to get the 1,000 points or 1,000 coins, or even maybe get to E where I am and get 1,200 coins, just again to help keep your account growing. Getting some coins, getting some things out of the shop, and giving yourself a starting point that you can then build on when this boss comes back again in the future. So let's go look at the leaderboard. You're going to see a number of heroes here being used, and this is going to be all related to that continuous damage. And we're going to look at exactly what that means. So continuous damage is not referring to, heroes with like multiple attacks or who shoot really fast or cast spells really fast in terms of like attack speed type stuff. What they're talking about are the status effects that apply damage that continues to just tick over time. Like Anai here being a good example of that with burning. Sustained damage, right? That's what you're talking about. Obviously, these people have tremendous skills and gear and everything all super maxed out, which is why they're as successful as they are. But it's all right here in the basics. Triggers automatically and inflicts stacks of burning on them. This is the ultimate. Anai's ultimate ability inflicts burning on them. Continuously refreshes every burning inflicted by the hero, so you can stack multiple burnings. Her regular ability then boosts the damage when they're burning, so you hit them harder and you regenerate more rage, so you can do it again. And then this, while they're burning, also gives you more attack and things like that. If we go look at, can't do it from there. Excuse me. If we go look at Anai in a little more detail, let's just go to the gallery here. Then we can see that Anai's talent here, basic attack, also has a 20% chance of inflicting burning on the target, and then you do more damage. Awakening Anai also gives you additional benefits to those burning abilities, or increases the chance of it actually happening. The basic attack, like we saw, is not a guaranteed thing. Basic attack has a 20% chance, so 1 out of 5 attacks, unless, depending how your RNG goes. And that's something else to consider too with a number of the heroes that are recommended on this. Depending on where you have that hero is going to impact your ability to trigger some of these abilities, some of these damage over time things. Other damage over time things, off the top of my head, we've got things like poisons. Who's a good one for poisons? Star piercers. We'll just look at Aracha real quick. Uses toxins. Basic attack here. Inflicts a spider toxin, which is doing continuous magic damage. That toxin damage will increase the more you level her up. And then we look at some more. Let's just go back to some other heroes that also inflict and are highly recommended. We saw Nasalt is on that list. Probably a hero you may not use. If you have, you may not really have used very much. Doesn't have a lot of practical uses in a lot of other areas. A little bit more niche, a little more specific for this, but does have the ability to inflict a burning or poison effect. And the more you level this hero up and awaken, the longer the duration and stuff goes. And then even if you're looking at some of the cheaper heroes down here, you've got a hero like, what's this? This is Cuke. Yeah. Small chance to inflict poison. This is a possibility of throwing out a trap. The boss isn't going to move, so they're never going to trigger the trap, but the arrows here have ability to inflict poison. And one that I was a little surprised to see is a little further down, even all the way into the greens here, is Liam. Liam's ultimate basic attack hits 2 more targets and inflicts a neurotoxin. This is when the ultimate goes off. That neurotoxin is a 5-second poison, so again, kind of similar to the same thing. If you're looking for heroes like this that are good for this, again, I'll reference Fastidious's tier list. You can scroll across the top, find, the codex that you're looking for, Arbiter here, and just kind of sort by this column, and you'll see some of the better heroes that are more highly rated. Dolores I don't get because Dolores's ability should freeze everybody, so I'm not sure why Dolores is there. Maybe I'm missing something with that. If so, feel free to leave something in the comments about why Dolores works. I haven't tried her yet, so looking at it on paper, I would think Dolores should not be good for this, but or Eloin for that matter. But maybe there was something else going on that I'm not thinking of. But you can see a Nye very high at the list, an Assault that we just covered, a whole bunch of other legendaries that you probably may not have, depending on where you are in the game. Something else to consider too, when you're looking at like a hero like Hex. Let's go back in the game. We'll look at Hex real quick. Is some heroes will apply abilities with their basic attack. Some heroes will apply it more with their ultimate. And with a hero like Hex, it is from the ultimate. It gains these card of fates with each attack, and when you have 4 cards, then they can start to trigger other benefits. But with Hex, it's more about when you hit this ultimate Mad Truth, it converts all of those card of fates into the Joker. And the Joker here deals a lot more damage and inflicts burning for 5 seconds. So that continuous damage from Hex is not coming from a regular, consistent attack like some of these other heroes who do poisons and things might be doing. With Hex, it's more of something that's going to come from the ultimate, and the more you have this skilled up, the more successful that ability is going to be. There you can see Liam right there on the list, ranked a little higher for it. Wrath is a little bit of a tricky and deceiving one too. We'll go look at Wrath real fast, because Wrath, you're looking at his abilities and you're just thinking like, okay, I don't get it. Like I don't see anything in here that's applying any type of status effect. Why is Wrath higher up on this list than a lot of other heroes? It's because of the Awakened. And that's sometimes where a thing is too. Wrath's Awakened 3 unlock now afflicts burning on targets that take damage from the heavy blow. So until you get Wrath to Awaken 3, not doing any of the continuous damage effect that you'd be looking for. So if your Wrath, like mine, is only Awakened 1, You might either think, okay, is this an opportunity to use some soul stones to promote him a little more, awaken him further? Or is this, you know what, this is a hero that just isn't going to be beneficial to me right now. I'll go ahead and put them to the side and try somebody else for a while first and see if I can have better success. All right, I think we got the gist of kind of what you're looking for with that. So let's talk about the actual boss fight. We'll do my auto fight here real quick, I think. So that's what we're looking at here. So I'm using Aracha, Hex, and Esme. Esme also throws some poisons. Anai for burning. Bleed is also another one I forgot to mention. That is a continuous damage effect. Also, Komodo's own ability when they're bleeding heals himself. So there's that aspect of it. And then you've got an Assault who's got the ability to throw off some poisons and burnings as well. So let's just do the auto fight real quick, just so you can sort of see how this is working. At least to set the guys up and put them in motion first. So as you can see right off the bat, we're applying some debuffs. We've got the poison already on there. The other guys are getting ready to just start attacking, but you can see that the ones who are doing continuous damage, they're healing themselves. So I don't need to bring a healer with this group because these guys are healing themselves. Now there's a bleed inflicted, so now Komodo's healing himself. You know, we'll get the poison and the burning from Anai, and from, I'm sorry, Anai's over here. Now we're going to get more burnings, hopefully. And then it just becomes a game of about damage output and things like that. The actual, as far as the boss fight itself goes, you've got this thing that, you know, the first 2 or 3 attacks that they do is just sort of an AoE attack, damaging people. So people who don't heal themselves will die off fairly quickly unless you bring a healer. If you, we'll get to that in option 2. And then eventually it will cause this cryo core mass where it's basically creating this giant vortex or giant ice ball that if you don't kill it fast enough, it will then explode into massive AoE damage to everybody, which is usually how the fight ends. It progressively gets harder and harder each time it runs, much like a lot of these other Codex fights. So you can see here it's getting slower and slower, and if we don't get it soon, oh, we just barely got it that time. So I probably have one more round left in me. I'll do 2 or 3 AoE attacks. We'll just barely get over our 70,000 points to make it to E grade, and this one will probably be it. Now, okay, we actually survived. Well, now they're all dead after the AoE attack. But we'll pile on a little bit more damage here before the final bell. This should finish, yeah, 64k. So we get 87,000 damage. Not bad. Actually, a new high. I must have upgraded somebody. Now, we're going to make one quick adjustment, and we're going to run that again in just a second. And if you stay tuned, we got a special little treat for you maybe at the end of the video. So I mentioned with Hex, oh, Hex doesn't have an artifact. I must have borrowed somebody's and then moved it. Yeah, we'll just take this one for now. We're not using her. I mentioned Hex's ability here, the Joker, is what's triggering the status effect. This may be an opportunity where you may want to play around with gear a little bit to try to find things. If you can do it without sacrificing stats, which I think I can do on this particular weapon here. If you can do it without really sacrificing too much in stats, get a little extra rage regen. And I have a one right here that's on one of my other heroes that I might just swap for this fight. So attack bonus is staying the same. We've got a little bit more base attack, a little bit more attack speed. I'm giving up 10% crit chance. It's going to take me from 62 down to 52%. but I am getting 22% more rage regen, and that might make enough of a difference in this fight. Let's find out. Let's just swap them for now. Now, the other thing to be careful now that I've done that, it may throw off my auto fight. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it and maybe even just run it manually. What I mean by that is now that Hex is regenning rage faster, the way the auto fight is, it's basically applying not when they, at the same thing. Like every time your hero gets to 100%, it may not be casting your ultimate. It may be doing it at the same specific spot in the fight every time. So when a boss gets to a certain debuff or a certain stage, or the timer gets to a certain counter, that's when it's going to know, oh, throw it. Cast your ultimate. But I might be able to do it more frequently now that I've upgraded that gear, and I might want to change my rhythm and my rotation. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that while we're doing this again. As you can see here, Hex is basically already charged up. All right, so we did trigger everybody's ultimate. Now Hex's ultimate does persist for quite a while. You can see it's still going over there. All right, now we're regenning. Looks like we're doing better. We got the boss pretty much dead, all within, before the second cryo actually did. So I think that's slightly better than last time. I think last time we got to the second cryo mass. And this might be a big damage improvement. Now you can see here, Hex is ready to go, but Hex isn't firing because that's not what the auto fight is recognizing. Now Hex is going off, but now we lost some people. Now we lost everybody. And now we're doing way worse, and now we're probably actually going to die right here. So again, something with the timing drastically different there, that we scored so much worse. You're like, how does that happen? I upgraded a hero. I made a hero better. How did I perform worse than previously? Well, between a combination of crits versus non-crits being random and some other things that can happen, and the timing being off perhaps on that ultimate, we're going to have to do this again, but we're going to do it by hand. So we'll start the auto fight just so I put my guys in the same position, because I like the position. Sometimes if you're having trouble though, changing your position may also be worthwhile. And now we're going to abort the auto fight and just take it over from here manually. All right, so there's the core. Let's pop that. Everybody do their thing. Let's try and take this boss down. And we did. We got him dead before the second cryo amass build up. But see, now my timing is off because I just barely got that one down because I didn't have any of these recharged yet. And now we're going to have to sit and hold on these. Now it looks like we're in good shape. Everybody's well healed up. And there's the next cryo mass, but we don't have any abilities charged here, so we're probably going to lose some people. Because I'm not going to get that one down. Yep, we lost quite a big chunk of people, and there go the rest of everybody else on the first AoE attack. So something I have to play around with the timing of, to try to find a little bit more success in when to trigger some of these abilities. Maybe I don't want to trigger all of them at the same time. Maybe that's what's throwing off some of my cycling and things like that. So I did mention a second option, which we're going to present to you here. If you've been having trouble with this, or if you don't have any of these heroes, the second option And the thing that you can be successful with, let's go look at our stats here. Who's throwing off the least amount of damage? Okay, so Esme's not throwing a whole lot. And Assault's doing okay, 4.7. But these guys are definitely the better three. And then Aracha is giving my Lord bonus. So, all right, let's mix this up a little bit. Let's show option number 2. If you're having trouble doing this fight, things you can do would include, first off, bringing a healer. If you don't have guys with abilities that are going to self-heal, bring a healer. Especially one like Vortex that's going to have a wide range because of the way the platforms are spaced. It may limit how many people you can actually heal. The other thing is sometimes you can just bring people who just have high damage, right? Like people who just hit hard to try and take some of this damage and take this fight down fast. Just keep them in range of your healer. People who can, if you have anybody who can heal themselves, you might want to put them a little further away. So we'll put Vortex there. As you can see, can cover these 3 tiles. So I can put, you don't have any help. So I'm going to put you within range of Vortex, and somebody else who maybe dies a little faster, like a Nye, we're going to put there. We're going to put you there. And I can actually put, now everybody's in range of my healer. Because I've got I've got 2 fighters, so they're taking up ground spots, and I've got everybody else staggered this way. So everybody's in range of my healer. Now I'm getting 1 less person dealing damage. Not good. For the cryo core amass abilities. Gonna be a problem to try and take some of these down. But it also means I don't have to trigger all my abilities at the same time because my healer's gonna cover my back a little bit. And I might actually be okay with the damage going a little bit slower this time. So I can take this cryo core down right there. That's the second one. So we finish that off. I want to see if I don't remember offhand, if the boss always starts the boss phase with the cryo. I guess we'll find out. No, the boss does not always start. So that's another thing with my auto fight is my timer was a little off. Because I was finishing the early stage of the boss, the regular stage, just before that cryo was going to stage 2. So he was immediately starting with a cryo, and that was throwing off a little bit of my tempo and rhythm in this section of the fight. And this is just a straight up damage thing. However much more damage you can do to this guy, go for it. Now, we didn't get it done, and he did wreck some people pretty hard here, but I was able to heal at least 2 people and keep them alive through the cryo and the AoE that followed it. Unfortunately, the other thing with this boss is that the respawn timers are doubled, so it's 120 seconds. And these guys are probably going to be dead here. But that is at least another strategy for how you can try to do this boss, especially if you don't have any of the heroes that I mentioned at the beginning. Or any other heroes, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who apply, a lot of people who apply additional status effects like that. There's erosion, burning, poison, bleed, probably a few others that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. So if you don't have any of them, there's at least another option. Bring a healer, and then bring your people who do, as much DPS as possible, damage per second. Just high damage, just to try and get through some of those cryospheres, get some points on the board, get the basic point rewards, maybe even, you'll grab a leaderboard ranking, whatever E gets, ranking rewards, top 80%, okay, great. I'll pick up a few extra coins here, as well as, where'd my mouse pointer go? A little bit of shards for an ancient summoning, some gold, at least something, right? Get something for my troubles instead of, well, I'm stuck and I just can't beat this thing. So Hopefully that helped. If you've had success with other things, please feel free to leave something down in the comments. Obviously, correct me on anything I may have gotten wrong. We did mention a special treat for you just for sticking around to the end of the video. We're going to go do a Frostborn invocation of spirits right here. I've got some gems. Let's just do a quick 10 pull, see what we get. Ah, nothing but junk. They ranked up the abilities on this. I was hoping maybe we'd get a little streamer luck, but a whole bunch of rares here. 6 of them that I'm just going to sell back. Another 180. Wish there was just like an auto like sell button like right here, like there is sometimes with gear, where you can just click on it and sell it. I don't want it. Sell it. just just sell all, right? Just turn them all back into gems or gold for some of these green heroes too. Um, Maybe that'll be a feature that will get added in year 2. But thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you around. Take it easy.